Alrighty, time for more armor tests. Today, will lightweight mail protect you from motorcycle gloves? No, that's not actually what I'm testing. This is an ultra lightweight mail shirt from ringmesh.com, which a patron of mine sent in for testing. Thank you, Jonathan. If there's enough left when I'm done with it, I'll send it back. So this is a different approach. This is welded stainless steel, and the rings are tiny, as you can see here. I don't even know what gauge that is. They look extremely thin. So the idea is to reduce weight as much as possible. I want to see what it can do against knives. You know, this kind of reminds me of those mail gloves and aprons that butchers use. Very lightweight and comfortable. Also comfortable because, you know, since it is welded, rather than butted or even riveted, it doesn't pull on your hair. Underneath, I've just got this sweatshirt here. I've turned it around after the previous tests so that this is all undamaged. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen the previous test and the making of this torso, those videos will be linked below. Check that out. So I want to try it like this first. And for padding, I don't have a gambeson right now. I have this padded coif, which I can just open up and drape over. This is pretty thin. Not a super heavy duty gambeson or padded jack like this stuff here. That would be overkill. If I put that on, I mean, at that point, you might as well just wear regular mail because this is pretty heavy already. So this is the same knife as before. I'm not going to demonstrate the sharpness again because I already did that in the video before this. I'm just going to refer you to that. All right, let's see. Yeah, I would have been shocked if it couldn't stand up to a simple slash from a small lightweight knife. Now the fixed knife with the sheep's foot blade. The ripple going through the mail looks kind of neat in slow-mo. Again, no big surprise. No damage. Wait a second. Now during editing I see that one ring popped. At the time I thought that the next knife did that. I can just see a tiny bit of reflection on the edge. But no damage, just dulled it a little. Okay, time for the big old Open L number 13 pocket machete, if you want to call it that. I see a little bit of damage there. It made it worse, but oddly enough, the smaller knife is what started this. The big blade doesn't seem to have done much. From what I can see, the difference is that the smaller knife dug in with a point and pried the ring open that way, while the larger blade hit with a long section of edge, so the force dissipates more. That's an easy fix. I mean, at least if you replace it with butted mail, if you wanted to weld it again, it's a different story. It looks good. I'm not feeling anything there either. And then I've got this thing here. Interesting. I'm not seeing anything. No damage. All the marks I'm seeing are just from previous tests, and I used the heat gun to sort of heal that. Okay, I'm going to put a little more oomph into it. There we are. Interestingly, I'm not immediately seeing a cut under it. There, see, just a little bit on the cloth. That abrasion there, that might be new. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's definitely new. So even though it was damaged, it's still protected. What I want to see is if this kitchen knife can do it. Obviously, rounded tip, by the way, doesn't mean much. Without protection, it would go right in. As I expected, it didn't go through, although that would still be quite painful. For this one, my prediction is no chance. Yeah. I mean, Even regular mail is not particularly strong against thrusts like that, let alone when it's this light. I definitely don't have to search for it. Yeah. The sternum is what stopped it more than anything. That went pretty deeply into the sternum, maybe even through. Okay, what I'm going to do now is add some more padding to the shoulder and see how that goes. For this swing, I want to choke down a little more and swing quite a bit harder. Really? Huh. I can still see where it's a little bit dented from the swing, but I don't see any damage. That's unexpected. Could still be bone breaking underneath, but overall, it did its job. But now I'm really curious if this will make any difference for a thrust. I mean, I know this is going to go through, but will it slow it down? It's not too bad. And yeah, you can see where it entered, right in between ribs. So that's not what stopped it. For comparison, how about without the mail? That's quite a bit further. Right, I should also try it with a passing step because that has made a huge difference before. So for this, I'm going to use this military rapier with a much broader blade. There we go. Yeah, that's obvious. Ooh. By the way, one thing to keep in mind is if you're tempted to compare this to the other mail test I've done, which was riveted mail with much more substantial rings, the difference there is that the target was nowhere near as resistant as this because I just had some cardboard and foam set up, so the blade will easily go through. So here, the limitation is not how far it can get through the mail, but how far it can get into the torso. So I'll do the same thing, just without armor. Yeah, that's quite a bit deeper. That definitely is the limiting factor. I can feel the damage on the rib inside. All right, so I've shown Jonathan the video so far to see if he's satisfied with the results and wants me to send it back not completely damaged, or if he'd like to see a little more. And more mayhem it is. I also keep tweaking things to try to improve the quality of the video. And cameras are hella light hungry, especially the slow-mo camera. I'm already using 4 video lights and have our garage door partially open to let in some natural light, but I got another one. A bit of backlighting tends to improve things. Yeah, I don't know if that makes much of a difference. Here's another thing I'm curious about. What would a disc mace do? Obviously, the penetration depth is limited, because as soon as it hits the haft, there's nowhere else it can go. But how about its effect on armor? So obviously, due to the length, this is a single-handed weapon, but I'm going to use both hands because both my left shoulder and my right elbow are injured. So I'm trying to spread the damage more evenly. Oh no, the new light is completely useless. It flickers in the slow-mo. LED lights are always such a gamble. Sometimes they work for recording, other times they don't. Well, that's a substantial amount of damage to the armor. The question is it going to be that much underneath? I think this is where it hit. That was already there. Damn, okay. It's a bit unfortunate in that it hit a previously damaged spot, but the thrust was this here, top right to bottom left diagonal. This was a disc mace. Well, that's quite wrecked. I can see, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but I can see gel through it. So this made it all the way through the sternum, and would have probably done more if the haft hadn't stopped it. That's what professionals call a big oof. Just kidding. How would I know what professionals say? So he also wanted to see the good old kriegsmesser. I shall accommodate that wish with reckless abandon. I'm impressed. It actually stood up to that. Better than my shoulder, that's for sure. Okay. Really? Did nothing? That's kind of wild, actually. Wait, hang on. Where did I hit it? So it looks like I hit it right across here, but I'm not seeing anything. Now, if this was a fully realistic ribcage underneath, it's pretty much guaranteed that we'd see some broken bones, but no actual cut going through. All right. This is, of course, the squishiest part. I think I'm going to be devious and aim for the collarbone here. No damage to the sword. Might have popped this ring off, but I'm not sure entirely. Well, that's visible. Oh boy, that's looking very painful. It's broken rather than cut. Ow. Also some serious laceration there. And that's potentially debilitating because at that point you can't use the arm as effectively anymore. Yeah, so it protected against a cut, but not the sheer impact force. That's of course always to be expected from Maille. It protects against the actual cutting action, but not the sheer blunt impact. I have to admit, it's pretty limited how hard I can hit right now, being a wreck physically. So if you hit it much harder with that sword, that would very likely go through. I might be able to cheat a little bit and use this instead. And I'm also going to dig in with the point a little, which tends to be more effective against armor, as opposed to hitting like this when much more of the edge is in contact with the armor. This limits the surface area, so concentrates more force. Yep, there it is. Yeah, that's by far the most damage so far. Yeah, you can see all the way through. Oh, yikes. There's some rings that were forced into the wound. All deformed and messed up. Oh. I mean, nowhere near as bad as it would be without, because it's not actually terribly deep. In terms of the actual cut. Oh, see that? There's a ring in the wound right there. That can't be good. Well, let's try the exact same without. Just going to try to go a little lower. Oh, God damn it, I forgot to reset the slow-mo camera. That's a bit of a shame. Look at how much of a difference that makes. That's the length of the cut compared to this with the armor. The gel closes back up and adheres to itself, so I have to pry that open to show you. Oh, yeah, that went into the ribcage. That's devastating. You can see a little bit of the ribcage there damaged. Yeah, that's a fight ender for sure. The other one with the armor probably is too, but much higher chance of survival. And then you also want to see the Dane axe. It's not terribly sharp, but it doesn't have to be for this, and arguably shouldn't be, because that way the edge is more durable against metal armor. Okay, I'm not seeing anything except that. Might be it. This is quite a bit squishier. Right, which in a way you could say simulates padding. I don't remember seeing that before. Don't know for sure if it was from this, but it might be. It definitely matters where you hit. Right there. Tore it open. Not entirely sure. I think that was there before. Nope, it wasn't. The axe did that. There's no chance the wearer would emerge from that unscathed, but it's limiting damage. Now I want to see what this rugger can do. It has a reinforced tip, so should be good for this kind of purpose. Barely went in. There it is. You can really feel when it goes through the mail and into the ribcage as well. That's the hit. I just had an idea. Double mail. So I put the sleeve over top. So this stuff is light enough that you could wear 2 layers. I'm a silly bugger. Those were 3 layers. I should do just the sleeve by itself. That's 2 layers. So here's where it tore a hole in the first layer. But the second seems all right. Yeah. Didn't go through both. That's quite good. Very impressive, in fact. So I have to say, that's surprisingly good, especially, again, for how light this is and comfortable. And I wouldn't have expected the rings to do so well. They're tiny, very thin diameter. So sure, weak against thrusts, as is to be expected, but really quite good against cuts. You know, even percussive cuts or chops. And, you know, the thrusts, I mean, they went through, but definitely not as far as they would without it. So, yeah, pretty good. Thanks again, Jonathan. Hope you enjoyed that, and hope everybody else also enjoyed the video. There will be some more tests coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching, and take care.